Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today we're going to take a look at the next set of games in the Baseball Maelstrom tournament featuring History Maker Baseball's all-time franchise greats. All of those teams also added in the Homestead Grays from the Negro Leagues and the Yomiuri Giants from the Japanese League. We are actually focused mostly on the National League side of the losers bracket right now. So let's take a look at the four games that happened down there. First one was Homestead facing off against the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants are the number 1 seed in the National League, and Homestead, I think, is number 8 or 9. I can't remember which. But in any event, San Francisco topped Homestead handily in this one. They scored when in the first inning when Mel Ott doubled in Jeff Kent. They scored 4 more runs in the third. All of this against Edsel Walker, a Homestead starter. He only lasted 3 1/3. They scored 4 runs in the third, and then they Buster Posey walked, and Travis Jackson singled, and then Jeff Kent hit a 3-run homer in the fourth, and that's when Fields came in relief of Edsel Walker there for Homestead. But Wilbur Fields didn't have much more luck either. He also allowed 4 more runs to score there en route to a 6-run fourth inning from San Francisco. They were pretty much in control of this game all the way through. They scored in every inning except the second inning. Meanwhile, Juan Marichal held Homestead to 4 runs in his 7 innings. Again, he wasn't very sharp either. Wasn't the best game for him, but good enough in this case. Jeremy Afelt actually allowed 3 more runs in the 8th to Homestead, but by then the game was well out of hand. Jeff Kent, 5 for 6 in this one with a homer, 2 doubles, and 4 RBI. So Jeff Kent just tearing things up in this one. Mel Ott also 3 for 4. He had 3 RBI also. He had 2-run single in the 8th and that RBI double in the first. So even he, the top of the order there, Kent, Ott, and Bonds combined to be 9 for 12 with 9 RBI. Bonds walked 4 times in this game. And that's really what made, in addition to the 16 hits San Francisco had, they walked 11 times. So they were just having their way with Homestead in this one. Homestead will go home. That eliminates the second non-Major League Baseball team. And the Giants advance to fight another day. Heading over to Cincinnati as the Philadelphia Phillies came to town, face off against the Reds. And we had Short facing off against Blackwell on the mound. This one was a pitcher's duel as Yoel Blackwell allowed just a run on 6 hits to Philadelphia, struck out 5. Short actually struck out 9 in his 8 innings. And we took a 1-1 tie into the 9th inning. Franco had a 1-2-3 9th inning for Cincinnati. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Reed ran into some trouble here. Ken Griffey Jr. led off with a single. And Larkin got hit to put runners on first and second with no outs for Johnny Bench. And Bench hit a 3-run walk-off homer to win this one for Cincy and to send the Philadelphia Phillies packing. So Philadelphia eliminated from the tournament as Cincinnati advances. Next up, we head over to Pittsburgh as the Colorado Rockies face off against the Pittsburgh Pirates. De La Rosa facing off against Candelaria for Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh pretty much taking control of this one early on. Dave Parker had a 3-run homer in the first inning. They would add an RBI single from Honus Wagner in the second, and Parker would have his second homer of the game in the third. Overall, Parker was 2 for 3 in this one, with 2 homers, 4 RBI, to lead Pittsburgh. Colorado, on the other hand, Andres Galarraga had all 3 of their RBI, 2 in the fourth there on a 2-run single, and then a sac fly in the sixth. But those were the only 3 runs Candelaria would allow. He allowed just 6 hits in 7 innings. And Pittsburgh Pirates relievers came in and shut the door. Colorado's relievers were pretty good too, actually. They allowed no hits in their 3 innings of work, but by then, Pittsburgh was already up 6-3. And that's where the score would stand as the Pirates advance, knocking off the Colorado Rockies in this one. Finally, the last of the losers bracket games this day, San Diego facing off against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Padres getting on the board early with 4 runs off of Ian Kennedy, capped off by Cito Gaston's 3-run double there in the first. So the Padres took a 4-0 lead. They scored another run in the third on a Greg Vaughn solo shot. That put them up 5-0. And then in the sixth, after an error on the shortstop there to lead things off, Gary Templeton had an RBI double, and that chased Kennedy. Kim came in, but he didn't do much better in stopping the scoring from happening, allowing a couple more earned runs. San Diego took a 9-0 lead into the bottom of the sixth. Finally, Jake Peavy had a no-hitter going with 2 outs in the sixth. Tony Clark singled to break up the no-hitter, and then Luis Gonzalez followed with a 2-run homer to break up the shutout. Peavy would come out of the game allowing just those 2 hits and 2 runs in his 6 innings of work. Craig Lefferts came in for the final 3 innings of the game. Wasn't very sharp. In fact, Luis Gonzalez hit his second homer of the game, a 3-run shot in the 8th, to give him 5 RBI, all 5 of the Arizona RBI this game. But by then, San Diego was up 10-5 at that point. And so they handily win this one. 18 hits for the Padres. Tony Gwynn broke out of his slump in this one. He came into this game over his first 11 in the tournament. He goes 4 for 6 in this one to break out of that slump. And we'll see if he can keep that going as San Diego advances, knocking off the Diamondbacks. So if we look at the losers bracket here, we can see that the next National League games will be the Cincinnati Reds at the San Francisco Giants and the Padres at the Pirates here. Now you're going to get some bonus action, as I also played the 2 winners bracket games where the 2 American and 2 National League unbeaten teams faced off against one another. Let's head to the American League first. Seattle Mariners, the number 16 seed, last seeded American League team, facing off against the Los Angeles Angels. We had Freddie Garcia facing off against Nolan Ryan in this one. And Ryan was pretty typical, I think. He went 6 1/3, struck out 7, but allowed 5 walks and 10 hits. In fact, Edgar Martinez led this game off with a solo homer to get things started for the Mariners. They'd score again in the 3rd and the 5th from Alex Rodriguez, RBI singles, scoring Edgar there. Finally, the Angels would get on the board in the bottom of the 5th against Garcia. They'd actually bat around, or all 9 hitters hit in the 5th inning, and they scored 4 runs thanks to a couple of 4 base hits there, 4 RBI base hits. Garcia allowed 5 of the 6 hits he would allow in that 1 inning, all 4 runs. And so LA took a 4-3 lead into the 7th. But Alex Rodriguez had his third RBI of the day there, scoring Alvin Davis in the 7th inning. Davis had a leadoff triple there in the 7th. With the game tied heading to the 8th, Edgar Martinez had his second homer of the game, another solo shot, this off of Rodriguez, and that would put Seattle up 5-4. Seattle faced a little bit of difficulty there in the bottom of the 8th when Rod Carew led off with a single, and Bobby Grich had another single to move him over to third after Don Baylor struck out. But Sasaki came in and struck out Vlad Guerrero and Darren Erstad to end the inning and end Los Angeles' chance to score in the 8th. In the 9th, Putz came in, and it was a 1-2-3 inning to close things out. And Seattle, the surprising team, the surprising last-seeded team in the American League, wins this one 5-4. LA, this is just their first loss, so they'll drop down to the losers bracket. Seattle will have some time to get ready as the only unbeaten team in the American League as they wait for the rest of the losers bracket to pan out before they see who they're going to face next. Heading over to St. Louis, the other lowest seeded team, the Miami Marlins here, facing off against the St. Louis Cardinals. We had Dontrell Willis facing off against Dizzy Dean, and Dean had the upper hand in this one. Yadier Molina had a great game. He was 3 for 3 in this one. He drove in 2 in the 2nd inning with a double, and then in the 4th, he started a 2-out rally by singling. That was the first of 4 straight hits. Stan Musial would drive in 1, and Rogers Hornsby would drive in 2 more to put St. Louis up 5-0 at that point. The Miami would actually get on the board in the 6th off of Dizzy Dean, thanks to an error by Joe Torre there at third. Juan Pierre drove in 2 with a single, and Charles Johnson followed with another RBI single before Dean was able to get out of that inning. But the St. Louis Cardinals would retire the last 11 batters in this game. Bruce Sutter picks up his 3rd save as the Cardinals win this one 5-3. They send Miami down to the losers bracket as they await, much like the Seattle Mariners on the American League side. St. Louis will now have some time to reset and prepare to see who they'll face as the National League wraps things up in the losers bracket. We look at the tournament. The very top here we can see, here is Seattle. It will be, they'll at least have 3 days off. The next game should be on the 8th for them, as we're wrapping up the October 4th games. Next game in the American League will be Kansas City at the Yankees and the Houston Astros at the Cleveland Indians. And here's your look at the National League winners bracket. Cardinals here sitting, waiting. They'll get 3 days off before they play again on the 8th. And there is the recap of the National League losers bracket for you to take a look at. As always, you can head over to baseballmaelstrom.com to follow the action. You'll see the schedule for the day. You'll see past days' games. You can see the full schedule if you click on the schedule button. You can see full stats if you click on stats. You can see team stats, player stats, anything you want to see. So you can follow all of the activity here in the tournament. That's where we will leave things for now. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know your pick for who is going to be the winner of the American and National League. Will a team come out of the losers bracket to beat either Seattle or St. Louis? Or will Seattle and St. Louis fight it out in the championships? Stay tuned for that. That's where we'll leave things. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, have a great evening.